favoriteest people in Minnesota, Mr. Anthony Taylor. How are you today, Anthony?
I am very well, Kim. It is always good to see you, and I'm excited today, right? So first of all, I'm excited about my guest today, and I'll introduce our guest in a minute. But sis, I mean, you are on islands and Bahamas and vacationing and sunshining and everything else. Can
Oh,
you give me some of that
man.
energy, man, today through
Oh,
this phone?
absolutely. It was beautiful. And you know what? The sun is shining though, bro. So you know what? Go step out the window. At least it's not really warm out there. I mean, well, I'll say it's warm. It's not really hot. So it's warm today.
Right.
So it's a beautiful day. Just step out by the window, soak up some of that sunshine. That's gonna make you feel better. Think about me.
All right. You always make me feel better, sis. So I'm
That's it.
always glad to hear your voice, man. And it's always a pleasure, Minneapolis. This is Minneapolis 360. I am your host, Anthony Taylor from the City of Minneapolis, Department of Neighborhood and Community Relations. Always blessed to be here every 2 weeks at 1 o'clock on KMOJ to provide any information that I can to the city, to our residents, to our citizens, to make their lives better, be informed, be able to access information. And really one of the most important parts of my job is just letting our guests shine, right? I mean, this is just something that I think is the most important. And I love when I have a lot of my favorite people on and being able to just give just really great information. So I'll get to my guest in a sec, but Minneapolis, as I always kind of start, just call it like a baby monologue, so to speak, that I like to give every time I'm on. And I always try to give a few points that I think are important in our city. And obviously, the pandemic is still around, so I always want to be able to preach to folks that the Delta variant is spreading. There's a lot of mask requirements that are in place. If you are, however you're getting your news, please, Minneapolis, understand the trends that we are seeing, what is being required for vaccinations. A lot of those things are speeding up. And I think once the big employers and the big box stores and the airlines and everything else start to kind of incorporate these mandates, I just want people to just kind of be aware of what's going on and just be really important about the information, especially with the babies, right? And I woke up this morning in Minneapolis and I heard that Edison School in Minneapolis is going distance learning for the next 2 weeks because of some COVID concerns. So I just want people to understand, make sure you're aware of where your babies are at in school and what's going on, because really being informed is one of the most important things we do. So please be safe, Minneapolis, and just stay informed. Please stay informed. So my little public service announcement for the day, but I am thrilled, Minneapolis, to bring on Rox Anderson. They, them, theirs pronoun. Rox is a performance co-coordinator. I am a big fan of the work that is happening, that she does, and it's really one of the most exciting things I can do to have her on our show to talk about the Trans Equity Summit that is coming up, and this is the 8th annual Trans Equity Summit, and she's going to talk about all this year's events and what's going on. And I know the work in her team and a colleague in my department, Tina, is really helps organize that. But Rox is the deal. So listen, Rox, welcome to 360. I am so happy to have you on the show today. Welcome.
Thanks, Anthony. I am a big fan of yours, too.
You, Rox, are one of the leaders in performance coordination. Everything about your work I'm a huge fan of. So just tell Minneapolis more about you, Rox. Give them your story on what makes you you.
Oh, wow. There's so many layers there, Anthony. I am a activist, an organizer. I try to root and found my work in Black liberation and abolition. And I love to be able to do that through art. That just gives me so much joy. I spend a lot of time working on behalf of the Minnesota Transgender Health Coalition, helping to run their shot clinic and do some of the administrative work. And I am the co-founder and managing director of Rare Productions, which is an art and entertainment production company really featuring and focusing in on LGBT, BIPOC, or Black, Indigenous, people of color artists. And as far as the city of Minneapolis' Trans Equity Summit goes, I've been part of the Trans Equity Summit since its inception, and came to that work really from the work that the Minnesota Transgender Health Coalition had been doing for many years before that, providing what we called the Trans Health Summit, the Minnesota Trans Health Summit. And we did that every year for maybe 10 years or so before the city of Minneapolis really kind of took the components that make up trans health and kind of broke those out into different segments, and we came up with the Trans Equity Summit. And those first 5 years of the summit were really about kind of shaping and bringing back to community relevant information that they were asking about, like housing, like health, like transportation, like public places like parks. And we really focused in on what are the equity measures that the city can do to ensure that trans folks have a quality of life that is equal and relevant to everybody else's quality of life in Minneapolis.
We are talking with one of my favoriteest people, Rox Anderson, talking about the 8th annual Trans Equity Summit coming up here. And Rox, just give folks the details, right? I mean, is there a cost to this? Where is it located? What are the times? Give folks kind of some meat on the Trans Equity Summit.
Okay, sure. So I guess to start, the Trans Equity Summit is an annual event that is led by the city of Minneapolis and their Trans Equity Working Group and Trans Equity Committee. And so the city of Minneapolis, as you know, Anthony, has boards and commissions. And the city of Minneapolis has a commission that's working on trans equity. So those bodies work together to put on the Trans Equity Summit. And so this is our 8th annual event, and it's for trans and gender nonconforming folks and allies, and anyone interested in furthering trans equity. All those folks are invited to attend. It's a free, it has been all-day event. This year, the event is a little bit different because we're working to kind of bring a hybrid event. So it'll be partially virtual, partially in person. It's going to be October 3rd and 4th from 3 to 5 p.m. and 7 to 9 p.m. And so, folks, like I said, you can come virtually or in person, and those virtual programming parts will be held on Zoom. There's also a virtual career fair and in-person career fair options. It's free. Everybody's welcome, but we're really asking folks to register so that we can make sure that we have all the accessible needs that you may have met. So folks can do that by going on the city website, which is minneapolismn.gov, and then put trans equity into the search engine, and it'll bring you up to that information, and you can register right up to the day of, if needed. But we would love for you to register beforehand so we can get all the information to you and get you the information that you need to be able to fully participate.
And thank you for that, Rox. And again, this is Rox Anderson talking about the Trans Equity Summit that's coming up. This year's event is October 3rd through the 4th from 3 to 5, 7 to 9. And there's a hybrid model, right? So some of it is in Zoom and some of it will be held at the Minneapolis Institute of Art, right? 2400 3rd Avenue South in Minneapolis. It's free. It's a beautiful event. I've been there before. And Rox, you talked about this a lot, right? It's going to be different because obviously, everything was in person before COVID. And you talked about some of the things that are happening. What I'd like for you to tell Minneapolis too is just talk about some of the holistic healing aspects that are going to happen at the Trans Equity Summit.
All right, I'd love to talk about that. So last year we did hold this event virtually, and that was a pretty good success. This year, because COVID's a little bit different, we're trying to do this hybrid. Like we said, part of it will be online, part of it will be there. There's going to be this career fair, but one of the things I'm really, really excited about is this holistic healing and aesthetic space. And so we're going to be offering everything from body work to tarot card readings to makeup and hair tutorials. We know that part of being trans and having safety in that is healing and having everybody kind of show up looking how they want to look and feeling how they want to feel. And so we're trying to encourage folks to check out those spaces to see if there's something there for them. That's also a really important reason to sign up, so you can kind of see what those different bodywork frameworks are going to be, and to sign up for the sessions that you might be most interested in.
And again, you want folks to register if possible, like just to kind of get a head count to know who's coming where. And like you talked about, you can sign up really until the day of. Correct, Rox?
That's right. That is right. If you sign up before, it helps us just really plan better, because especially for those folks attending in person, because we really want to be able to make sure that we're following those COVID safe practices, and so that we can make sure that people have enough distance and enough time to get from space to space. And so we really would encourage folks to sign up in advance. But, life is life. And so on, Sunday, if your day clears up or you don't have to now go in for your shift at work and you can attend, please, by all means, come on, sign up and attend.
We are talking with Rox Anderson about the Trans Equity Summit, the 8th annual Trans Equity Summit here in October from the 3rd to the 4th, 3 to 5, 7 to 9. You can sign up virtually as well. There'll be some in person. You can go to minneapolis.gov, type in Trans Equity in the search engine Minneapolis, get all the information. It is free and it is a beautiful event. And Roxanne, just what should people expect, right? And when I go to any type of summit, to me, one of the biggest things for me that I love to hear and I'm always excited about is like the keynote, right? I get amped up about the keynote speaker. So just kind of break down, like, what should people expect on the 3rd and 4th?
Okay, so we have a couple of really special things. Erica Woodland is the founder and director of the National Network of Queer and Trans Therapists. His keynote's going to be streamed virtually, so everybody can take part in that. He's like nationally renowned and has created this amazing network where trans and queer therapists can list what they specialize in, and individuals can find them on that network and get the therapy alignment that they're really looking for. We're also going to be doing that virtual career and resource fair that I said, and the holistic and aesthetic space for people who can really benefit from that physical, mental, and spiritual support. There's going to be a panel. I'm super enthralled about this panel because it's going to be by local trans and gender nonconforming leaders who are working in fields to center trans folks. And some of those folks that are going to be on that panel are some of my favorite folks. July 23rd, Aaron Sharkey. It's going to be led by my girl Shimmer, and I know that I'm leaving out a few other folks, but I can't give it all away. You know, you have to have something to be surprised about.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. You know, it's called a tease. You know that, right? We'll
Yes,
tease Minneapolis. We'll tease
exactly.
Minneapolis a little bit because I know it is so dope, and I'm a huge fan of going every year. One of the things that I respect about your work is the fact that you always have so much energy like around your passion, right? And I love it. So just, tell people why you're so excited about this summit and excited all the time just about the work, Roxanne. So where does the energy come from around this?
Oh, Anthony, you know, I get super excited about powerful leaders in our community. They're doing real work. They're leading conversations about who we are and where we want to be as a community and what it looks like. What roads do we need to get there? And that fuels me. That gives me like supercharged energy. I'm excited because Minneapolis is one of a few cities that's really engaging in trans equity in a powerful way. It's rare that resources and conversations like this are really concentrated at a local, free, and all ages event. We need space to heal together. We need to come together virtually and in person and just find ways to connect. And that feels super exciting to create a way for trans folks to access joy and to be powerful leaders and to be creating futures that can be led by us. I think, you know, the thing that really is exciting to me is that this summit is a space that really centers trans folks and gender nonconforming folks, but also invites our allies to be authentically respectful, to learn, to connect with one another, and to begin building real and authentic relationships. I know people who've met at this summit and are connected in partnership, like they're like romantically connected, and they have been for a long time. I know people who have met in partnership and have grown amazing work in community. So that really just pumps me up when people have an access point to kind of like figure out what their desires are and figure out how to go and get their needs met.
And that's the beauty of coming together, right? I mean, those things are so needed in our community, especially in these times now. And Rox, I just want to go back quick to something you said. This is an opportunity for folks even to learn and listen, right? And just talk about how important it just to being able to listen and understand some things that you may not understand and how powerful that is to the human soul, right? Is to be able to experience differences, understanding, and sit back and listen, right?
Yeah. If you're trans, gender nonconforming, or even questioning, this is a space for you. It's going to connect resources and community and create opportunities for us to get the support in whatever growth, organizing, or learning feels the most beneficial to you. There's going to be spaces in the summit that speak most specifically to experiences of youth, of Black and Indigenous and people of color communities. And we're working within a dynamic of spaces that have been, historically exclusive. And that means that we have to do work to create change in those spaces. And that's not simple or immediate, but we need to connect together. We're also going to have ALS interpretation and spoken language interpretation to try to provide the most accessible platform that we can. If you're somebody who doesn't identify and you're like, well, I don't know if this is for me. If you care about trans and gender nonconforming folks, if those folks are in your family, if you work with trans and gender nonconforming folks, whether those folks are specifically in your life or they're more kind of like clients. This is a space for you to come and, as you said, Anthony, listen and learn.
We are talking with Rox Anderson, performance co-coordinator. She used they, them, theirs pronouns. The Trans Equity Summit is coming up October 3rd and 4th. Check the website out, Minneapolis. You can go to minneapolis.gov, type in trans equity in the search engine. 3 to 5 from October 3rd and 4th, 7 to 9. It is absolutely free. It is absolutely a wonderful event. And Rox, I am so glad that you're on. And I just want to end with this, right? Because I think as we all do our work, we always see visions of what our work will look like, right? And where we want whatever we do that we're passionate about going forward. So there's always a vision in the future. And I just want you to talk about the summit and the city's trans equity work. Like, what do you want to see moving forward with this, Rox?
Well, accessibility is really important for all the folks who live in Minneapolis. And so we're working hard to continue to grow our ability to provide programming that can be accessible for all residents. I think that that's something, a takeaway that we've learned from COVID, right? There are many ways that we can provide accessibility that we weren't thinking about so much before. And so I'm hoping that we'll continue to kind of provide this hybrid type of programming and figure out how to make that work well for everybody. I'm excited to see the work that we're doing at the city level kind of be elevated and trickle out into other city structures around the state as we've seen happening. I'm super excited to know that the trans work that's happening in our community, that's happened over the last 20 years, is no longer kind of siloed within a separate organization or within the government itself, but it's creating this kind of fluidity back and forth between what residents need, what the folks who live in Minneapolis need, and how government and city structures can support that. So I would love to see that grow. I want us to build infrastructure to continue to support these things, to make sure that, we are paying, the folks that are doing the aesthetic work and the holistic healing work really well. I want us to pay the artists and the entertainers really well. I want us to pay all those folks who are providing their expertise in workshops and keynoting really well. And we've been able to have that as a priority as part of our city budget. And even though we've seen some, politicking around whether or not trans people are worthy of a budget at the city level, I feel really excited that our city has said yes. Trans people need prioritization at the city level, and we're going to do that in one true measure that you can show that something's really priority, and that's by putting dollars to it. And so that means that, we all have to have that information so that we can continue to inform our council members, so that we can continue to make that a priority in our neighborhoods and community relationship groups. so that we can prioritize that in all those city departments, and so that we have this real mechanism of infrastructure, and it's kind of not this projection politics that say we kind of like trans people and we know that we need to say that we do, so we're going to act like we do. I feel that the city of Minneapolis has done a great job in saying, no, for real, trans people matter, and we're going to prioritize trans folks, and we're going to ensure that BIPOC trans folks have spaces of leadership within that structure. And that feels really excellent to me. I think, I would like to see more folks from outstate Minnesota be able to join in, and we're able to do that now differently through kind of this virtual connection. And when we come to a time when we can come back together in person, I would like to see that. I don't know. I would like to see things like, how do trans folks engage in biking? How do trans folks engage in other parts of our city that we have prize in? We have one of the best biking infrastructures in the nation. So how do more trans people take up space there? We know trans people bike. Wow. How do they feel really comfortable in that community? And so those are things that I'm really excited as we move forward, how trans people can have more visibility and take up space in authentic ways in our city.
That's wonderful. Are you ever looking for volunteers?
Of course. You can sign up to be part of the summit by going to that minneapolismn.gov, hitting the trans equity area in your search engine, and there's a place to sign up for volunteers.
Okay, wonderful. And actually, Rock, stay on the line don't hang up when we get through, because I want to talk to you.
Okay.
And Rox, I honor you, and I'm honored for you to be on my show today. Just your work, like every circle that I talk to and your name comes up is always love. I appreciate your passion and the bars that you dropped in this half hour. Just it inspired me, right? So I really appreciate the fact that you come on here and you talk about the Trans Equity Summit, and I just want to thank you for being you and keep doing what you do, Rox. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate both of y'all. Thanks for having me on today.
Yes.
That was Rox. Go ahead.
No,
Kim.
I was going to say that's important. I think it's important that that everybody has a support system and just, some other people that they can hang around that they really feel, comfortable with, and that they can see doing great, amazing things, and that can be an inspiration. So I am so happy that they have this opportunity out here for trans. I don't know if you knew this, but my son is trans.
I did not know that.
No, okay, yep. So 19 years old, and so I'm excited for him, the opportunity. He was like, "Get the information for me."
Get the info. Get the info. That's absolutely right. It's October 3rd and 4th. It's a hybrid model, so it's virtual and in person. You can also go on the website and get that info. But I just love it. I've been to this summit, before. I've only been in the city about 4 years, and I've been 3 years, and so it's just a beautiful thing. So appreciate Rox. Appreciate you, Kim. I know y'all going to talk. I know we only got about a few seconds left, Minneapolis, so I want to just thank you. Please be well, be safe, and see you in about a week.
Thanks so much, Anthony.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Rox. Hold on for me, Rox. All right, Twin Cities, I want to remind you that SAGE Screening Program presents the Breast Cancer Screening for All Women age 40 and older. Sisters Standing Up to Breast Cancer Screening Event. It's a mammogram and health education Saturday, September 25th from 12 noon to 3 p.m. that's happening at Shiloh Temple International Ministry, 1201 West Broadway Avenue North in Minneapolis. If you need more information, the number is 651-556-0686. And there's a promo code I can give you, SS79, to reserve your spot. Walk-ins are welcome, and feel free to call KMOJ if you have any other questions about it. But it is Breast Cancer Month, so if you are 40 and older, I suggest you go ahead and check out that event. But right now, Mr. Loudmouth himself, Zany K, he's up next.